It is rumour season with a new edition of Warhammer 40,000 coming out, and it would be such a shame to miss out. The thing about rumours, to make them effective is to lie and to do so enthusiastically. Never believe rumours. You may assume I'm calling out one or two people in particular, but I'm not. Anyone can rumour. This is not about Dr. Krankenfu. This is about having fun with predictions. You have read the title, the full title. You know that all the rumours in this video are not correct and shouldn't be believed, but you will still believe they could be real, even though I'm telling you they're not. Here's how you play the rumour game. And before the end of the video, I will give you 12 new rumours to not believe, but you'll want to believe. I don't want this to spread too fast, so please do me a favour and do not share this video. I want to make a point and have fun, not create a playbook for rumour content. So you say 12 things that people want, that are off the wall unlikely, but trigger either a love of a thing or put pressure on a fear. Legends is a fear. Say something is going to Legends and people fear that their playgroup won't let them use Legends rules, even though the rules are free and produced by Games Workshop and are going to be in the 11th edition 40k app. Legends means the model is no longer sold. Not that the rules to use the unit are gone forever. Maybe just moved. But you gotta hype up some ambiguity of the term. You've got to make sure that rumours are unlikely and usually put far away in the future. People will forget, and if a thing doesn't happen, there is no trigger point to remember the claim. People are not putting in their diary, he said this thing would happen 4 years from now. I'm gonna remember this and then complain. But if it does happen, you were a genius. And of the 3 things you guessed right out of 12, 2 of them are what one type of person cared about. They had only heard those 2 rumours, and you were always right. And that 3rd thing that you were right about, well, that is just proof that you are reliable. Rumours can be contradictory, and people won't notice. Although they're off the wall, rumours have to sound somewhat plausible. This is why people outside the hobby can't get the balance right. There will be Space Marine models coming out in 11th edition. You do surprise me. But a Star Wars crossover will happen and Darth Vader will get rules to fight against Space Marines. That sounds too unlikely. So you apply your experience of the game to the rumours you are making. And cover yourself by saying it's a lie. Present them all in the same video. Say you don't believe them, but put them in a video as rumours. Play both sides. I do not believe the words I'm saying right now. I'm just saying words recreationally. I have in the past been told stuff by someone who worked at Games Workshop that turned out to be correct, until their good information stopped coming true. Turns out they no longer worked for Games Workshop and was worried I would stop talking to them if they weren't giving me information. They told me that the sisters were getting a new detachment in 2025, and then kept pushing back if and when that was coming. The sisters' detachment turned out to not be true, and I just couldn't trust them anymore, so I stopped talking to them. But I do hope they're doing well. Here are my 12 predictions. No, rumours. Here are 12 rumours based on what people want and are interested in. So I won't mention Votan. There's lots of Space Marines mentioned, as many people play Space Marines. Just need to bake in some reason it's a safe bet based on experience in the hobby, and there we go. So, Rumour 1. Before the end of 2026, a new Pedro Cantor model will be out, and a campaign book called something like Siege of Rin's World, with a new plot of Crimson Fist versus Orcs, and it acts as a great follow-up to the Armageddon starter set that I'm hearing will have Orcs versus Space Marines. So you will have another war zone where all your new Orc and Space Marine units get to fight. Number 2, Venerable Dreadnought. The Castaform Dreadnought will not go away. The current kit that's called the Venerable Dreadnought. This is the model called Dreadnought in the Space Marine Codex. It is also called the Venerable Dreadnought in the Grey Knight Codex. It's an older kit, so this is a pretty good bet that it will be updated for those 2 factions. Only a little bit bigger in legs, not as big as a Redemptor, and it'll retain the same boxy torso. Rumour 3. Tactical squads will get new rules, and they're so good that every Space Marine player takes the max amount in every game. The +1 to wound bonus from Oath of Moment is no longer needed because the balance compared to the Divergent chapters is that they can't use tactical squads. Oh, Space Wolves, Black Templars, and Deathwatch players are in shambles. Dark Angels, but more so Blood Angels, that have their own special units and can take tactical squads will be the strongest Marine faction, hence why the Blood Angels were the poster chapter for the 11th edition. If you do remember back to the start of 10th edition, tactical squads were taken pretty regularly. A squad that could split itself in two and you get a backfield defense and a good little shooting unit. They only weren't taken if you had infiltrators, which didn't infiltrate. They used their 12-inch no arriving from deep strike or reserves to protect your backfield. No one took intercessors. You don't need sticky objectives. You need a unit in the back who can do actions in your deployment zone. Assault intercessors were cheaper, half a tactical squad was cheaper, and Games Workshop had to boost up the intercessors to shoot better, otherwise they didn't see play. So OP tactical squads is not impossible. Oh, we have to have a Primarch. In their Q&A, Games Workshop said no Loyalist Primarchs are coming back in 11th edition. This is of course to lie and throw us off. They said they're all dead, so Vulcan, he comes back to life. He has a teleporting citadel and goes around the galaxy spreading his gene seed and making a lot of scattered salamander successes. They start calling themselves the Shattered Legion. Also, there'll be Space Marine Codex 2 in 2028, and it'll have all of the first founding chapters get their own supplement book with an army rule replacing Oath of Moment. Since orcs are in the starter set, we need some stuff about orcs, so new orc meganobs, all armed with the same weapon, Power Claw and combi rockets. They'll come in squads of 5 now. That's a trend. Units of 3 go to units of 5, units of 5 go to units of 3. Regular orc knobs are not getting a refresh. Oh, people really like Grot Tank, so I must disappoint you by saying no Grot Tank refresh. They stay in Legends. Some other units will also get updated. Death Dreads. Death Dreads get updated. Flash Gates, Looters, maybe War Bikes, but I don't know what would make you think that. The only model that the Eldar will get in 11th edition is a new Karandras. The faction gets one character in the edition, just like most factions did in 10th edition. Like the Jump Pack Canoness and the Benefactress were the only Sisters and Genestealer Cult new releases outside of Kill Team and promotional models. Oh, but there'll be a big Sisters focus in 11th edition. They didn't have a lot of support in 10th edition, so we'll get more models in 11th edition. A drop church, Sisters riding mechanical horses that shoot fire from their mouths. This gives you horse girls, and also an ecclesiarchy version of the Mechanicus horses that shoot fire from their mouths. And Fraternus Militia will come back as a Kill Team release. Games Workshop seems to really like doing those releases. Then you get a very overpriced box for the models. Genestealer Cult. Oh, new detachment's coming. They'll get a new detachment just for the Pure Strain Genestealers. If you play Genestealer Cult, you will know that it's pretty out there to get support for the Genestealers in the Genestealer Cult. There already is a detachment for Aberrants, the Biophagus, and the Pure Strains, but this detachment will be one detachment point and only about the Pure Strains. You don't need to think too hard about this. There are not many Genestealer Cult players to remember if this turns out not to be true. Also, it'll be proved wrong too soon, so maybe forget this one. And instead, new models. New models for this edition is a standalone Primus and a Patriarch. The Primus is the one-off anniversary store model, so not new, but the Patriarch, that'll be a real new model with no throne, and the Kellamorph will be resold with a hat. Full-on capping. The Eldar will get a massive release. Exodites, Eldar Exodites before 2029. Not their own army, but more like Corsairs. 2 characters, one on a big alien dinosaur, the other is a world spirit psyker, and 2 infantry squads, and a mounted unit that can be led by the character on the dinosaur. Now we need to mix in a reasonable rumour based on what is present elsewhere but absent in one faction. Emperor's Children. Emperor's Children, they get a dedicated cultist unit. The unit champion has a Demonette arm mutation. Also a character that is not Lucius the Eternal, a generic Blade Master, and that'll be called a Perfectionist. And then we need creepy Dark Eldar. New Vect model on a big barge, and the barge can also be built as a Tantalus. There, bring back a model that used to be sold. That's easy enough to predict. And then we follow some trends. So, big Dark Eldar refresh, new Kabbalites and Witches but on 28.5mm bases. The racks and all the Homunculus Coven stuff stops being sold, and their rules get the Legends tag, all except the Homunculus model. That'll be the only Homunculus Coven's unit in the Codex. Now we need something out there, because these rumors are starting to sound too reasonable. So, a merging of the Old World, and Age of Sigmar, and 40k. There is a realm gate of sorts that lets people who know about it travel between the universes. This retroactively explains Be'lakor appearing in more than one setting. And then Sigmar gets rules to be used, but not in Age of Sigmar, and not in Old World, but in 40k as a mysterious space marine. You have heard that I'm making these up. And also, as I read them out, you thought, oh, that would be cool. I want that. That could happen. Thanks for telling me about that upcoming thing. This is actually pretty fun. See, you can't lose with rumors. Even though I know the rumor formula, I don't want to be a rumor channel. So let's keep the rumors to a minimum in future. My darlings and viewers, have a great day of 40k.